Recording in progress.
All right, so welcome back, folks. We have our core stability and posture day today. So our workout session, we're gonna do a little warm up. All right, and then from there, we're gonna be. Sorry, let me. Just making sure I have the right movement here. Okay. So. Yeah, so remember for this class, a lot of our stuff is going to be done on the floor. There are some movements that we could do standing. So I'll make sure, I know I have some folks that prefer doing the standing versions or the modifications. So I'll go over both. And then just, for the sake of the movement, sometimes there isn't a modification just because it's very specific to the floor. So during that time, you could just do a stretch or something else. But yeah, just bear with me. So let's go ahead and just do some of the movements that we will be mimicking throughout the session. So let's do some snow angels just to start off. And any of these movements right now that we're doing, you could incorporate into your workout, as you're waiting, in case we're down on the floor, you could do some of these. All right, and then your front shoulder raises. Yeah, and on my end, for my classes are showing up already for the fall. So it'll probably be a couple of weeks, maybe a few days. I'd say a couple of weeks in the next couple of weeks where I'm going to be asked again to ask folks, reach up towards the ceiling and then lean right, if they want to be re-enrolled for the fall classes, okay? So remember, in the fall, we only meet on Mondays and Wednesdays. Left. Our ab circles, so hinge at the hip, come across. Alright, and then big hula hoops. Okay. So these first Monday through Thursday, if you haven't noticed yet, are more physically active as far as workouts and exercises. And then as we're approaching the weekend, Friday and Saturday, we're doing the more, supplemental to wellness aspect, which is more flexibility, mobility, balance. So, switch. All right, very good. Okay. So because I will be showing modifications of each movement, we'll probably cut these down into, instead of sets of 5, I'll probably just cut these down into like sets of 2 or 3, okay, so we could have time to showcase each movement. Okay, so plank to bear crawl transition. So this one is gonna be on the floor. So remember, if you're not doing movements on the floor, then just wait for the modification. So this is just a plank to bear crawl position or transition, okay? So we go from a plank to a bear crawl. Okay, so this is a plank and then this is a bear crawl. So all you're doing is this, which is pretty much the first movement coming back from an inchworm, okay? So that's what we're gonna be doing for 30 seconds. All right, and then if we're standing, if we're thinking about our core kind of being extended and then tucked in, you could almost do that motion. That's going to work on your core. So you could reach up towards the ceiling and then bring your elbows down here. And then up and down, okay? So again, that's kind of bringing your body into like an accordion motion. So let's go ahead and do that one first. We're gonna go for 30 to 40 seconds, and then we'll go over the next one, okay? All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. If you get tired of this floor one, you could stand up and do the standing motion. Ten more seconds. We're at 30 seconds right now. 3, 2, 1, time. All right. So use this time as rest. Next one, we are doing our wall isometric press. So if you remember this one, we are on the floor. We are pressing with our hands, pushing the wall behind us. We're here with our legs, and we're gonna drop each heel one at a time. Okay? So we're here, right? If we're standing, what we could do here is sit towards the front of your chair, bring your legs here, and then just drop one heel at a time, okay? All right, let's try to be efficient with our time. Ready? So if you're on the floor, or if you're in the chair, get ready. 3, 2, 1, and go. So 40 seconds. So push the wall or counter behind you. By pushing, you should feel tension on your shoulders and your shoulder blade. Keep pushing. If you're on the chair, keep dropping those heels. 10 more seconds. And time. Whew. All right. Very good. Number 3, forearm plank with reach. Okay? So, just like the name states, we're going to be on our forearm plank here, but you're going to reach with one hand in front of you, and then you're going to alternate. Okay? And alternate. If you get tired, just hold that plank. All right? This one, it is a little bit trickier to do with the standing motion. So what I'm going to ask those folks that are standing is give me a standing Jane Fonda. Okay, so you're going to focus on working on your balance and some leg strength for this one. Okay? So not every exercise is going to mirror itself, but we could still at least do something to supplement your workout, and in this case, your balance. All right, ready? Plank to reach, or standing Jane Fonda. Ready, and begin. So, reach, reach. 30 to 40 seconds. Halfway there, 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Whew. All right. Very good. Let me see. All right, so this next one is just gonna be arm circles. So this one we're standing, and this is gonna finish off this first set. So this one's just gonna be arm circles, and what we wanna focus on is so this is gonna be just big circles here, okay? The thing we wanna do is to make sure that our posture is nice and upright. We don't wanna sag or rotate our shoulders inwards. And we also don't want to hyperextend that chest either. So just find that medium, okay? If you're not sure, where that position is, just go up against the wall, head's nice and straight, and that should be just kind of walking away from it. That's what we want. All right, 30 seconds. We'll do 15 seconds forward and then 15 in reverse. Ready? And begin. Remember, we don't want to sag. You could always adjust your foot position if that helps with your posture. I know sometimes when my feet are close together, that makes my back irritate. Reverse. Three, two, one, time. Oof, those arms getting a little tired. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of balance because that does influence our posture. So I'm gonna take off my shoes. I know we do have balance, but that's not until Friday and Saturday. So we might make a balance component to this class so we have it a little bit more spread out throughout the week. So to start off, we'll start off with the Romberg stance. So feet next to each other, right here. And just kind of relax. Feet are right next to each other. Try to notice if your ankles are a little bit unstable or weak. Let's look left to right. Up and down. Close your eyes. So remember, for this one, open your eyes if you don't feel safe and unstable. You want to open your eyes, separate your feet. Open your eyes. Okay. And then on this one, just to work on our lower legs, we're just going to rock back and forth. So heel to toe rock. Okay. Let's do about 5 more. Very good. All right. Let's take about a minute rest, grab some water. All right. So this next one is going to be more planks. So my folks that are standing up, we're going to be doing some shoulder crunches, okay? So for the folks that are standing up, we're going to go here, prisoner position, and drop your elbow to your right knee, okay? And then the second movement, it's going to be the opposite leg, okay? So for my folks on the floor, what we're going to be doing is going to be a side plank. Side plank, we are here. You could rest on your knee, but you're going to drive your top knee up, okay? So I'm resting on my elbow and on my left knee, and I'm driving my right knee up, okay? And then for the second one, we're going to switch sides. All right, so for my standing ones, prisoners, elbows to knee crunches, floor, we're going to do our side planks here with the knee drive. 3, 2, 1, go. We're doing we're aiming for 40 seconds, okay? So everyone's working on their right side. You're 15 seconds in. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're gonna switch. So again, elbow and knee is what we want. We'll start in 10 seconds. So my folks that are standing, you're crunching now to your left side. 3, 2, 1, and go. Good morning. Come join us.
Sorry, had an urgent phone call after all that.
You're okay.
Nuts.
Oof. 15 more seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woof. Whew. This class is not easy to bounce back from the cardio class. So alright, we did our left side, we did our right side. Now we're gonna be doing our plank rolls. Okay, so my folks on the floor, regular plank, and now we're rolling our hips left to right. Alright, to mimic that, what I want my folks that are standing is gonna be a prisoner squat, elbow to opposite knee. So right here, okay? And my other folks are doing the plank rolls. After that, we have a high plank step out. So it's pretty much on a high plank. I'll show you this way. You're here, and you kind of step to your side. Okay? For my folks that are standing, what I want you to do, it's just jumping jacks or side step jacks. Okay? So working on some lateral hip mobility. Alright, so plank rolls are opposite knee to elbow if you're standing. Alright, ready? 30 to 40 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotta adjust my... Halfway there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Now it's going to be our high plank step out or our side step jacks if we're standing. Oof. How are we feeling? Good? A little tired from earlier? Ready? High plank or side step jacks. And begin. 40 seconds. Halfway there. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, time. Ooh. All right. Let's switch it up to some balance work. So grab some water. Grab your, I was gonna say grab your breath. Save your breath. All right, we're gonna go with tandem stance, right foot in front of our left. Oof. Right foot in front of our left. All right, we're gonna look left to right. Up and down. Whoa. Close your eyes. Make sure you have a counter if you don't feel safe, or if you just want to play it safe. Hover your hand over a counter or open your eyes. Separate your feet. Open your eyes. Right, and elevate your back foot. Just as long as it's elevated off the ground. Could be an inch or it could be a foot. Just lift it. All right. Very good. Shake it off. All right, we're gonna do a new balance squat. So this is gonna be a little different. Might be a little challenging, and only do it if you feel comfortable with this position. Okay. So what it's gonna be, you're gonna need a chair nearby. You're gonna position your right ankle on that left knee, almost like if we're doing our piriformis stretch. So here, and then you're gonna use the counter so you could lightly hold on to it, and then you're gonna do a baby squat, okay, on that left leg. But you're being, some support with that chair. I don't want anyone to try this with just balance, okay? The point is not for that. The point is to do a one-legged squat, okay? So, all right, so we're gonna do 8 on one leg and 8 on the other, okay? Tired out that leg just now, so I'm gonna start with my left ankle on my right knee. So probably have to move the chair this way now. So left ankle on my right knee, and then just gently. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Awesome. And let's switch to the other side. Right ankle on that left knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Awesome. All right. Was that challenging for anyone? Did you just completely avoid it, or was that manageable? Give me some thumbs up, or a crying face, or a broken heart emoji. I do want some feedback though, please. And there will be, all right, see 1, thumbs up. I see 2, I see 3, 4. Okay, no crying faces. If someone just did not like that one at all. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. All right, so this next one, my people that are standing, we're gonna clench our hands behind our head, and then we're gonna do a wide snow angel and do the same below our back. And then unclench and do that behind your head and then on your back, okay? Now, my people on the floor, we're gonna be doing that, but we're gonna do that in a Superman position, okay? So belly down, and we're doing that. So let's go ahead and transition to the floor. And if you're on the floor, belly down, here and here, okay? Now, we're gonna do 8 of these, okay? So from your head to your lower back and back to your head, that's 1. Okay, we're doing 8. Ready? And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, for my folks on the floor, let's just rest on our elbows for a little bit. For my folks that are standing up, you could do any stretch that you like right now. Okay. All right. So, folks on the floor, this next one, what we're gonna do is gonna be belly down, head down, arms extended, legs extended. We're gonna do opposite arm, opposite leg lift. So we're here, we're gonna lift, and then down and lift the other leg, other arm. Okay? This is the prone swimmer. Right? For my folks that are standing, we're doing this opposite movement. So what you could do is we're here, lift this left leg, swing it back, and your right arm, swing it forward, reset. Okay, or you could keep your arms up. No, I like it if your arms are down, and then we go and do this motion. Okay, so that's what we're doing, but on the floor. So we're doing 6 on each side. Okay, drop down, ready, and begin. And we're holding that position for about a second before we drop back down. Whew. Very good. All right, my folks that are standing, what we want to do is going to bring our elbows back behind us and relax. Back behind us, squeeze and relax. My folks that are on the floor, quadruped position, you're going to be from here. And what we want to do is, I'll show you. If you watch me right now carefully, my arms are spread out, but then I'm gonna straighten them out, and my back's gonna get a little bit tighter when I straighten out my elbows. Okay, so we're pretty much making our scapula, which is our wings, like our wing bones in the back, kind of just go from here to here, and it's working those little muscles back there. Okay, folks standing, we're doing elbows. Let's do 12 of these. So these are just called quadruped push-ups. Ready, and begin. 1, And squeeze for a second before you reset. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Very good. All right. We are gonna go. We did right foot in front of our left. Now we're gonna go left foot in front of our right for balance. Okay. Left foot in front of our right. And again, just finding our best comfortable position, our balance. How are we feeling right now? We're in week 3 with our consecutive workouts most days out of the week. Are we feeling a little bit tired, like it's catching up to us, or energy's good? Let's look left to right. Alright, Josefina says good, thumbs up. Left to right. Up and down. Whoa. Swimming everywhere. Alright, close your eyes.
Question.
Yes.
On this position, is the body weight distributed on both legs or mostly on the back leg?
This one,
This is
I
tough-
personally,
This is a tough one for me.
yeah, I personally feel it on my back leg more.
Back leg. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it just depends on kind of like how you're leaning. So, and open your eyes. But yeah, but the idea, it's on this position with your feet are next to each other. The base is the square, so it's going to be more comfortable. And then here, I mean, this is less traditional standing position, so it's almost like how your body feels comfortable. And I feel more comfortable on that, lean, which is going to be back here. And if you think about it, where your hips are positioned, my hips are positioned where they are over like the toes of my back foot a little bit more. They're not positioned over the heel of my front foot, if that makes sense. So, and that's where most of your weight's going to be distributed. So let's lift that back foot now. So now right here, you might feel that front ankle shaking a little bit. And then let's just experiment a little bit. So now drop that back foot and lift that front leg. And you'll notice that there's still, well, at least for me, there's some shaking. So this is a good way to kind of identify, what foot is kind of holds a little bit more of your weight, or where you distribute that. Very good. Let's go ahead and do some clawing. So feet are flat on the floor, and let's claw at the floor, pulling your toes towards your heels. I'm glad I ran already. Don't have to run in the heat anymore. Let's go ahead and find a wall, and we're gonna do some wall glides. So this is where we have our arms up against the wall, our palms too, and we want to press up and then down and up. Keep those, try to keep contact the entire time. Let's do 3 more. And last one. Very good. Alright, let's go to our chair and just finish off from here. So we are going to our chair, down with the yoga mat. Alright, so for in our chair, what we're gonna do is just our standing chair squats, okay? So we're not doing our individual leg, we'll save that for the weekend. But again, we're here and we're gonna come up and sit back down comfortably and repeat. Okay, let's do 10 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Almost there, folks. Alright. Let's just go ahead, keep our thumbs up against our shoulders and just press up and bring those thumbs back down, making contact with your shoulders. Two more. Good. Alright. Awesome. Alright, last exercise we're going to do is just going to be our shoulder shrugs. Okay, so this one, it's really easy to just kind of relax and hunch forward. So we want to make sure that we're not just bringing our shoulders up, but that your posture is nice and upright, okay? The moment you see me doing this, then that's when I'm doing it wrong, so you want to stay upright. Alright, so just be engaged with your posture and the action of moving your shoulders up and down. We're doing 10 of these, okay? So all the way up, all the way down. Up, down. Up, down. 3. So you always have to be engaged with your posture, making sure that you don't collapse. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alrighty. Good work. Good session. Any questions before we go on our way today? So I think between both classes I burned close to 500 calories. So good work. Good Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday? It is Wednesday. I forget, in the summer. But any questions before we head out? Alright, so remember again, Charisse, you weren't here, but due to your text message, I did go through with the class and let them know about the Canvas emails and attendance. So just for everyone again, if you are getting those emails, double check with your instructor. I just let all you folks know if you're in here, you're fine because you've gotten notified. But like I said, Canvas does miss some stuff sometimes. So if you happen to look at the YouTube recordings, just leave your initials on there and I'll just make sure that you're checked off and you won't get dropped, at least for my classes. Now, if you're concerned with any other class, then just double check with that instructor, okay? So,
Thank you.
all right, folks. See you.
Thank
This
you.
is Julio.
All right, adios, everyone.
You did it.
Have a
You
good day.
did it.
I know I have another class now.
Oh.
Great.